Coming up, the U.S. Supreme Court upholds the Indian Child Welfare Act. We get the latest information. Plus, a Native American has climbed Mount Everest for what's believed to be the first time. And we take a trip to Hollywood to learn more about the impact of the writer's strike on Native content. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amadawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. We start today in Washington, D.C., where the U.S. Supreme Court has handed down a major decision to uphold the Indian Child Welfare Act. The High Court ruled 7-2 in Burkine versus Holland that the federal law will remain intact. ICWA, which is a 44-year-old law, keeps Native American children in child welfare cases with Native American adoptive families. ICT regular contributor John Tsuda weighed in after the ruling.
From a conservative viewpoint, a 7-2 decision is very strong. So I think that's in the large picture, great. For what we all know in this particular case, though, child welfare is a huge matter. It's the future of our nations. It's the future of our people. And so letting that power stand, is as a practical matter in the daily lives of Indian people. It's just a huge win for us. So.
ICWA was challenged by a non-Native adoptive couple who argued that the law was unconstitutional because it discriminates against non-Native adoptive parents on the basis of race. On Thursday, the High Court rejected those arguments, with Justice Amy Coney Barrett writing the opinion.
The significance of the Supreme Court's decision today is huge for Indian country. Not only do we get to keep our children, protect them, keep them in our communities, but the foundations of tribal sovereignty have also been protected. And that has far-reaching consequences beyond the Indian Child Welfare Act. It's a huge day for Indian country.
That was ICT regular contributor Holly Cook-Macaro. Just about every Native organization in the country issued statements of celebration and relief on the case. In the months leading up to the decision, lawmakers from several states passed state ICWA laws to protect Native children in case the federal law was overturned. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito were the lone justices to dissent. Staying at the High Court, another decision released Thursday doesn't mean great news for tribally owned subsidiaries. The Supreme Court ruled in Lac du Flambeau versus Coughlin that tribal nations are subject to the bankruptcy code like any other government or state. All of the justices ruled against the tribe except for Justice Neil Gorsuch. The ruling is set to have implications for tribal economic development and sovereignty. You can find all of the latest information about both of these cases by visiting us online at ictnews.org. In California, Wildlife Viewing Project has received over $3 million in funding. The award was given to the Elk Valley Rancheria last month to create trails, lookout points, and educational material about the area's elk herds and tribe. Located in Northern California, the Elk Valley Rancheria is made up of several tribes, including the Tolowa, Yurok, Chetco, and Hoopa. The area is home to 7 herds of Roosevelt elk, the largest consisting of about 250 animals. Completing the project means improved viewing safety and enhanced opportunities for conservation appreciation. The National Scenic Byways Program funded the award, and the state's Department of Fish and Wildlife will assist on the project. Well, one of the world's most active volcanoes is showing its power once again. Kilauea, which is located on the Big Island of Hawaii, started erupting last week. It was the first time after 3 months of no activity. The eruption does not pose a significant threat to humans and is isolated in the Halemaumau crater floor. On the first day and night of the activity, an estimated 10,000 people flocked to Volcanoes National Park to see it. The Hawaii Tourism Authority issued a statement telling visitors to be mindful of the cultural significance of an eruption by the goddess Pele. The agency urged people not to engage in horseplay at the site, not to take rocks with them, and to leave the plants where they are. Kilauea is a very active volcano. She had previously erupted nonstop from 1983 to 2018. You can view a live stream of the eruption on the U.S. Geological Survey's YouTube page. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. Dr. Jacob Weasel had a goal to inspire youth, and he achieved it by making history. This Lakota surgeon is the first Native American ever believed to summit Mount Everest, and he did it for a cause. He created the nonprofit called the Wopila Project in order to raise money on his expedition to build a playground for Lakota kids in Rapid City, South Dakota, and to create health clinics for women in Nepal. He shared his amazing experience with ICT's Mackenzie Allen Charmley.
Well, Dr. Jacob Weasel, thank you so much for joining us today to talk all things Everest. You are the first Native American to summit the peak. Tell us, how did that achievement make you feel?
Yeah, when I came off the mountain, I've gotten that question a couple of times, and honestly, the strongest feeling that I have is just one of gratitude. So grateful, not just for having been able to summit and come down safely, but to represent my people, to be gifted with the eagle feather, which I was able to take up to the top of the world and leave there as a symbol, not just of Lakota people, but all indigenous people. And grateful for having, had the opportunity to go and be the first Native American to summit the mountain, and hopefully use that as an opportunity to inspire younger generations and young Native kids and show them that they are equally capable as anybody else to achieve whatever they want in life. I mean, coming down just full of joy, and full of gratitude.
You mentioned that you had brought an eagle feather with you on your journey. What is the significance behind that?
Yeah, well, and so obviously for a lot of Native cultures, eagle feathers are sacred. And I've had the opportunity of developing a relationship with several elders in the community and medicine men. And I was approached by a guy named Rick Two Dogs, who's a well-respected member of our community, and he's a medicine man, been practicing for nearly 50 years or so on Pine Ridge Reservation. And he had basically asked me if I would be willing to take an eagle feather that was blessed in ceremony to the top of Everest. And when we sat down to have lunch and he gifted me with that feather, he basically said, this feather is representative, and it's a symbol of our people. And for everything that we have suffered, the injustices, the atrocities, the subjugation that we as a people have suffered over the past 3 centuries, and how that has almost broken the spirit of the people, he asked me to take that feather to the top of the world as a symbol of raising the spirit of our people above all that has happened to us. And so, ultimately I was privileged and honored to be able to do so. And I had the feather attached to my pack all the way from Namche Basar when we landed there by helicopter, through the Everest trek to base camp and up the mountain to the top of the world. And to this very day, it sits there higher than anything else on the planet. And so it was a real privilege and an honor for me to be able to do that in representing our people.
You've summited many other monumental peaks, but I was hoping you could share with us how exactly you prepared for Everest and your decision process behind that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the decision process for me, I never had any kind of aspiration to climb Everest, knowing the risk involved. And I have 3 children, and they're all teenage years, and yeah, there's quite a bit of risk there. But as I got into mountaineering, I began to look into, I came across an article about the first Black man to summit in 2003 and the first Black woman to summit in 2006, and was inspired by their stories. And so as I came across these articles, I was intrigued to find out who the first Native American was to summit. And for about a year and a half, I Google searched everything that I could, and we even had help with the marketing team at the hospital where I work try and look into it, and we couldn't come across anything. So I had a conversation with my wife, and I just said somebody should be the first, just to show that it can be done and that dreams can come true. And if you work hard and you persevere and you're unwilling to let anybody dissuade you from your goals, you can accomplish amazing things in life. And so that's kind of what the inspiration was for me. It was never, and I sat down with my children. I just said, it's not about me climbing this mountain. It's about using this as an opportunity to show that whatever it is you want in life, if you work hard and you have perseverance and grit and a will to achieve something great, that it can actually happen. And wanting to inspire other people to follow their dreams as well. And so in terms of the preparation, you're right. It's unlike most other mountains. It is extremely physically challenging, and the mental aspect of it is something that you really can't grasp until you're there on the mountain. And I came to that mountain feeling as though I was prepared and fit. And I will tell you that that first rotation up the mountain, when I'm trying to push up to 24,000 feet and I'm taking 5 steps and it takes me 20 seconds to catch my breath, I was humbled by that, because it was something that I had never experienced before. But in terms of preparation, it's a lot of working out, spending time on a stair stepper, spending time in the gym. And so in the 9 to 12 months leading up to the expedition, I spent upwards of 4 hours every day preparing physically for this. And a lot of it was putting on a heavy pack and stair stepping for 2 hours at a time, and then doing some lifting, mostly legs and core, and then just running up hills and all sorts of different things. At the end of the day, nothing is really a substitute for putting on a heavy pack and climbing up hills, because that's what you end up doing. So
I can only imagine climbing a mountain takes a strong mindset. Were there any key moments on your journey where you felt challenged?
yeah, so for people that don't know, you go up the mountain to acclimatize and get used to that altitude, and then you come back down the mountain and you rest. And after that first rotation, it was probably the first time in my life where I really was humbled and had some self-doubt as to whether or not I could do this or not. And I returned to Everest and start on the summit push. And after I had come down to rest, I developed a mantra that I said to myself probably several thousand times. And it was 3 words. It was discipline, focus, and strength. And in those order, because strength is really the least important of those 3 when you're on the mountain climbing. And yeah, absolutely. There were times where I, in retrospect, had brushes with death. On the way from Camp 2 up to Camp 3, there is a steep face called the Lhotse face, and it's primarily ice. And any rock that gets dislodged from 2,000 feet above can work its way down, and it's going down the mountain at 50 to maybe 65 miles an hour. And I'm going up the mountain, and all of a sudden I hear rock, rock, rock. And I look up, and it was a split second between me seeing the rock and it striking me in the chest. And, I gathered myself, realized I hadn't broken any ribs, had probably bruised some ribs, but I was okay to move forward. So we move on from there. And it's not really until I come off the mountain that I'm contemplating this and thinking, if that rock was a foot higher and 4 inches to the right, it would be a different story. And I could have easily lost my life, whether it be that instance or coming down off of the mountain after summiting. I got caught in 2 avalanches through what's called the Khumbu ice fall. Um, and, crouching behind a rock as up above me, a plume of ice and snow comes barreling down, and feeling the power of that coming down on you, and just hoping that you don't get hit by a rock and that the force of this avalanche doesn't sweep you into a crevasse. And going through that, it wasn't just the physical aspect, but you come away from that being just mentally and emotionally exhausted. So yeah, there were definitely challenging times on on the mountain. But as much as there is, sadness and loss, and you experience and see things on the mountain that are difficult to see and to go through, it's kind of all overarched by an amazing beauty and this privilege and honor that you get to watch the sunrise from the top of the world.
You're a doctor, you've summited Everest. For anyone else who wants to achieve big like you, what advice would you give them?
So, yeah, I would say the first thing is believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. Find yourself a dream to latch onto, and then don't allow anything or anyone to dissuade you. And I came off the mountain and I made a note to myself, a note to other people. And part of that just said, never, ever, ever give up. And whatever it is that you want in life, run after it. And the best advice that I could give is to run from zero. So it's difficult to go from the couch to climbing Everest, but everybody can get off of the couch and walk around their neighborhood, and it starts there. And if you start with small things, and accomplish those things, it will lead to bigger things if you allow yourself the opportunity to dream big dreams. And yeah, I think that as individuals, as human beings, we are far more capable than we give ourselves credit. I think that we are far stronger than we ever know. And if you allow yourself the opportunity to be put in a place to test your strength and to test your limits, I think most individuals would be surprised at what's inside of them that lies dormant, that they have no idea is actually there. And so for me, going to climb these mountains, and whether it's that or other areas in life, I think us realizing what we are capable of as human beings, and being able to push our limits and have a deep appreciation for our potential, is something that I've come to love, and hopefully something that I hope others will be inspired to pursue for themselves.
Well, Dr. Jacob Weasel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For more information about fundraising efforts, you can visit wopilaproject.com. We'll be right back. The Writers Guild of America has been on strike, which has paused work and productions. So how has this affected Native writers and content? ICT's Paris Wise has this report from a recent event in partnership with FNX.
The Native American and Indigenous Writers Committee held a strike at Disney Studios in Burbank, California. The Writers Guild of America is heading into week 7 of the strikes, and organizers aren't slowing down.
Our main goal today is to make ourselves seen and heard. With the Writers Guild, we have, the strike going on, of course, but when it comes to Native and Indigenous writers in general, people have yet to truly grasp and understand our specific role in storytelling and how crucial it is that we are the ones that are telling our own stories. So not only are we here to make sure that our demands are heard, to make sure that our stories are told by us, through us, but also to be able to have fair wages so that we can tell our story with full agency and also get paid fairly for it. But yeah, a lot of today is all about, uplifting each other and bringing about that Native joy and being able to just be with one another during a time that most people would consider tumultuous.
In the midst of writers' careers on hold, the demonstration brought a sense of community and looking towards future generations of storytellers.
When we first started the strike, there was so much enthusiasm and people started doing these theme pickets just because, during the pandemic, we've all been in these Zoom rooms and nobody's been able to be in person. And we really got so much out of the solidarity of marching and picketing together that people started being like, oh, are you a fan of this? Writers' rooms started doing reunions and things like that. And then there started being Latinx picket, Southeast Asian picket. And so we decided to do an Indigenous takeover because there are so many more Indigenous writers today in the WGA than there have ever been, and we wanted to come out and be seen. And when we have a gathering, you got to have music, you got to have food, you got to have songs. And so we really wanted to bring that community to our larger WGA community. But we also wanted to make sure that people know that, when you see these dancers and you see these singers, these are people with voices that are demanding to be heard in the exact same way that we are as picketers. I've been in the industry for 13 years. So these are really your earning years. These are the years when you're you get shows and you start to really kind of lean on all the knowledge that you've built up and all that kind of experience that you have. And so to take this break has been really hard. But when I first got here, it was in 2010 and a strike had just finished. And there were a lot of writers talking about how they had put their careers on pause so that my generation of writers would have it better off. And so there's a huge legacy of writers fighting for that next generation. And so I'm honored to be here doing this.
Demands against AI and for fair wages make it critical for writers and stories to thrive.
Pens are down. So this content that we're consuming, it feels like there's so much of it. And there is. You put on any of the streamers and you have all of these options. But the shows that you love, they are crafted by people who have spent so many years trying to be able to tell a story in the most efficient, most beautiful way and find their most authentic voice and, pouring themselves onto the page. We can't take that for granted anymore. So a lot of these shows that we love are not being created anymore. And whether it's today or whether it's tomorrow, people are going to feel that. And as far as AI goes, that is very complicated, and we're trying to make sure that we're not replaced and we can maintain the creative integrity of our work and not be replaced by robots. It's loaded, but I feel like we're finally at a time where Native writers, the percentage of Native writers, and I'm in television, so specifically in TV, is the lowest percentage that I'm aware of, but we're finally having more writer programs that are giving Natives a voice and opportunities. That's how I got on the Connors myself. I did the Disney Writers Program, and before that, the LA Skins Native American Writers Labs and Showrunner Program. So these things are finally in place, and we're finally getting a foot in the door, and now this. So it just feels like we are fighting as a union, all writers, but specifically the timing sucks that we finally are getting an opportunity. This feels like a family reunion because Native Hollywood is small. So it's fun to gather to show solidarity within the guild and just remind people how individual writers are and how we can't be replaced by technology and AI. We have very specific backgrounds and stories, and this is us demonstrating that with our Native culture. So the turnout is really amazing, and it's not just Native people, it's allies and people who support the culture.
Members of the Screen Actors Guild also recently authorized a strike and showed up in solidarity.
We just voted. I voted for it because I believe, we got to stand united in solidarity. If the writers are dealing with the situation, so are we. We're one, really. I mean, they're the ones who creatively bring these scripts, write and create these scripts, and then it's our job to give them life and give them breath. So anything, in my estimation, anything the writers are about, we need to be a part of it too. We're one. That's where the real solidarity is. I mean, first of all, it seems to me that we're the only race or nation that still is struggling for identity and validation in the industry. So I want to see writers, directors, DPs, you know, everybody. I want to see everyone on set that we're represented. We are still fighting for validation and fighting for a voice, and it is our time. We're not going away. We've always been here. We will always be here, and it's our time to shine like everybody else.
While the amount of Native voices on screen and behind the scenes is important, the quality of the stories is what matters most.
I mean, you hear it a lot that Indigenous people are the first storytellers of this land, and we have a place in Hollywood, and it's not something that can be manipulated by other people. If you look at things like AI, if you look at things like the algorithm, that are things that can change Indigenous people and our imagery, and we don't have control over that. And so what I'm always out here for is Indigenous people telling our own stories, no stories about us without us, and we have really made huge strides in the last 5 years, and we don't want to go backwards, and that's part of why we're out here.
In Southern California, Paris Wise, ICT News.
That reporting was done in partnership with our friends at FNX First Nations Experience. And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, including for news on today's Supreme Court decisions, visit us at ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.